Hi guys, Amber here, and a couple things. I apologize in advance if this is a little bouncy. I have the laptop sitting on a step stool on my bed, so when I move, it moves. But I wanted to try something different for where my setup is today because of what I have to show you guys. I can't show you a lot of what I've been working on this week because, again, I'm still working on some secret projects. And not so much secrets that I'm working ahead on some things that you guys can't see yet because I'm sworn to secrecy. So there's that. But what I can show you is, if you watched last week, you saw that I was working on a round ripple. And I've made some progress on it. And this is actually folded into quarters because if I unfold it, it's just too big and you're not going to see much more than this anyway. But there you go. And I just started the green on this today, so it's going to be bigger than I originally intended. I intended to actually stop at the row I'm on, but I talked to a few people and they've convinced me to go further. So there's that. Then if you follow my live journal, you may have seen this story already, but I've been told it's kind of funnier when I'm telling it, so I'll tell you guys this story here. I was a bit of a bad girl yesterday. Friday, my mom and I went out to do some errands and everything, and I asked if I could stop by Joann's because they were having a 40% off sale. And she said okay, she didn't have a problem with that. I ran in and I was looking for something for a friend actually, and I ended up buying myself 1.5 yard of this shiny fabric, and because you know how I feel about sparkles, and I was content, and that was that. Well, Sunday, as I was going through some mail that had come in over the week, I found a flyer for Joann's, and they were having keepsake calico at 50% off for the President's Day sale. And I talked to my mom about it, and she and I agreed I didn't have anything I needed. I didn't have anything I needed to buy, so I could ignore it. And we kept talking about it, and talking about it, and talking about it. And so I had Monday off for President's Day, and, well, my mom called me, and she said, well, I'll tell you, it's snowing again, but you should go to the sale, because if you don't, you're going to regret it. And this is what I love about my mom. She knows me so well. And so I got up and I got dressed, and I was basically out the door in the same amount of time it would take me to get ready for work, which is no time at all. And I drove the 2 miles, which fortunately for me is a straight shot, in the snowstorm, to go to Joann's, and I get there just after they open, and they had supplies everywhere, like they'd gotten their delivery, but because we've had so much snow, there was this like gigantic mountain where the truck usually goes, so they had to bring it in through the front door. So we were laughing about that. And I started picking a few things, and the next thing I know, my cart is piled high, and I told myself I was only getting half yards of things because most of the fabric I was picking out was regularly $6 to $8 a yard, and at half yard, at half off, it was a good price, and I could pick out some basic stuff that I need, like, solid colors and no patterns and everything. So one of the things I picked up, well, one of the many things I picked up, is there's this series of colors that Joann has put out, and they're all, I don't know if the camera will pick up on it, but they're all kind of marbly, but they have lots of colors to choose from. Like, I've got 3 different greens, 2 different purples, at least 3 blues, 4 blues, but and I know there's a couple other colors in this colorway because I've purchased them in the past, and I actually use that line on my Sesame Street quilt that I'm still working on. And the problem is I've wanted to use some of that fabric for other projects, but I don't want to use it out of my Sesame Street quilt stash. So I picked up some of that, and the thing was, as the girls cutting stuff, and if you go to Joann's, you know that they'll they'll cut what you request, but if there's like just a little bit left, like less than a yard, they offer it to you usually as a remnant, and you get like 50% off that. So I was kind of cool with that because I got a couple really good deals on that. Like this one, when she went to cut the half yard off of it, somebody had already made a cut and there was a yard and a half, and she asked me if I wanted the remnant. So basically I got a yard of fabric for 75% off because it was half off and then half off of that. So, I'm maybe dumb enough to drive through a snowstorm to get fabric, but I'm not dumb enough to hand off a 75% off sale. So I got all those. Then I got these. Yeah. Which mostly I just picked some kind of solids and some texture fabric to use. Like this yellow was as close as I could find to match the solid colors colorway because I couldn't find a yellow that matched it. This brown is a go-to brown of mine. I used it in my POD. I used it in the Talo Bombs. I'm pretty sure I used it in the Narwhal, and I think there's plans to use it in my Sesame Street. I don't know if I've used it. I might have used it already in the As You Wish, so we'll see. And then I got some of this, which is the same fabric that I picked up for the backing of my Narwhal. This, which I've used, I know for sure, in a couple different quilt blocks. Gray. More green. Green is one of my favorite colors, so you'll find that I use it a lot when I can. And then, sparkles, which I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there we go. Sparkles. White sparkles are always fun. And then I picked up some more of this, which is actually the teal that I'm using in my PPV, my paper piecing vintage, because, hey, half off, and I love this fabric. And then I got actually the companion red to it. They didn't have any of the dark blue, which I was kind of disappointed, but I wasn't going to hunt it down. If for any reason I go back and they have 50% off again, I might get some more, but I don't feel compelled. I got this, which is the same background in my buttercup block, again, because sparkles. And then the one piece that I bought yesterday that was not on sale, and I only bought it because it was sparkles, but it's got a different, I won't say texture, or it's 100% cotton. It just looks and feels different, like more dense, and I have to say, like, maybe not as pretty as I normally would buy, but it sparkles, and I was kind of thinking about using it for the background in one of my future blocks that needs sparkles, but the jury's still out on that. Then the last piece that I bought, and I didn't intend to buy this much until I realized it was perfect for something, and that's this. It's this kind of teal crosshatch looking gray and everything, and it's going to be my backing for my As You Wish quilt, which will be perfect because I have this, then I have the blue that I'm using on the background and the sashing, and I think for the cornerstones and the squares I'm going to use this green that will, it's kind of like the blue and the green together make this, which means I only have my binding left to figure out. So there's that. And all of that purchased was less than $80, which frankly is a really good deal, so considering I counted it all up, I had over 23 yards of fabric. So I was very pleased with my purchase. Now I just got to put it all away. One of my deals that I made with myself in buying all this is I'm going to go through and pull out fabric that I haven't used, that's maybe more than 2 years old, that I can't remember where I bought it, that may not be as high quality. And there's a group they call themselves the Junior Yarners or something like that. It's this group of like middle school to early high school kids that meet at one of our local libraries, and they're learning to knit, crochet, sew, do all kinds of fiber art. And they're always looking for donations because obviously these kids are too young to have jobs, and maybe their family can't afford to buy them supplies. And it's always fun to learn on something that you don't care about, like fabric-wise. You don't want to buy the most expensive thing you can to try out something. So I'm going to go through my stash and see if there's some stuff that I can get rid of out of there, and then it goes to a good cause because they get to use it. And so I think that's it. Any updates on like my cats getting into my rooms? They haven't gotten in this week, but half the time I can't get out of my room. I'll save that story for another time. But that's 11 minutes. So I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.